Carry on my wayward son. There'll be peace when you are done. Lay your weary head to rest. Don't you cry no more. We all gotta admit, it's gonna be hard not seeing that every spring from now on. Supernatural has ended. Its series finale just aired. I'm going to talk a little bit about the Supernatural series finale. This is more or less a retrospect and a review of the series as a whole. This is definitely a show that's going to leave a long-lasting legacy. It already has a huge fan base. And this is a show that started when I was 11 and has lasted to now. I'm 26. 15 seasons, 327 episodes.
Awesome.
These wayward sons carried on for that long. For those of you that don't know what Supernatural is, I mean, it's probably ingrained in pop culture everywhere, but Supernatural follows the exploits of two hunters who are brothers, Sam and Dean Winchester, played by Jared Padalecki and Jensen Ackles, except they're not the typical hunters. These are hunters of the supernatural. Vampires, werewolves, angels, demons, ghouls, goblins. Okay, maybe not the last two, but in each episode and each season follows their exploits as they travel around in an awesome muscle car, a 1967 Chevy Impala, and fight these supernatural creatures. As I said, I will be talking about the season 15 finale, which is the series finale, so obviously there's going to be some spoilers when I get there. But as a whole, the show, for a show that lasted 15 seasons, it was a solid show. Of course, like any show that lasts this long, it has its ups and downs, as I expected to. For instance, I became very disinterested in the show around like the season 8 and 9, especially 10, and 11 era, the Jeremy Carver era. I wasn't a huge fan of Jeremy Carver as a showrunner. Jeremy Carver is somebody who I call discount J.J. Abrams, because he kind of looks like J.J. Abrams. That middle run of the show, 8, 9, especially 10, I despise the living shit out of season 10. The first half of season 11, the second half of season 11 is better. It's still not great, but it's a lot better. I'm not a huge fan of. And clearly I was disinterested at those times, because it just seemed like there were so many ideas that Carver had as a showrunner, and he never fulfilled those promises or those ideas. For instance, at the end of season 9, Dean dies and becomes a demon. And so it got me super hyped, because I was like, that is the best storyline they have had in years. Finally, something's wrong with Dean. Something's not wrong with Sam for once. And it led to potential avenues that I wanted the show to go down in season 10, and that was just such an awesome cliffhanger for season 9. And then season 10 rolls around, and you get 3 episodes of Demon Dean, although in my eyes it's really 1.5 of just drunk, obnoxious Dean, because he didn't act like a demon at all, and that whole plot line is just thrown away within 3 episodes. I'll talk more about season 10 in a little bit, but it was mostly that run of the show, the Jeremy Carver seasons, where I was just like, I'm gonna check out. I seriously considered not watching the show anymore, because I was like, it's gone on for too long. Nobody knows when this is going to end. This could probably go on for like another 20 years or so, for all we know, because it's so popular. It's like, I'm not there mentally anymore. I can't sit through this anymore. It's not hitting me the same way that the first 5 seasons, which are fucking phenomenal, by the way, did. And in a way, season 6 and season 7, Sarah Gamble, I think, had a pretty good handle on the show. There's a lot of people that don't like season 7. I think season 7 is a very fun season. I think it's a very underrated season, and I know I'm going to get a lot of flack for that. But I really enjoy season 7. I like it a lot more than 6. The thing that the show hinges on is these two brothers, their relationship. And I just love how, despite retreading so much familiar narrative territory, that it still delivered all of the emotional weight that you expected from the show after a certain point. These two brothers had a camaraderie together. You knew that they were in it for the long haul. You knew that they were in it until the very end.
But you see, there's something about me that you don't know. Yeah, what would that be? It's my lucky day. Oh my God, did you see that shot? I'm amazing. I'm Batman.
Yeah, you're Batman.
It's something I always appreciated about the show. And then in season 4, when it gets biblical, when they bring in the angels, the early days of the angels were the best days of the angels because the angels were total dickheads. I love that. That was such a unique path to take with angels, just making angels complete dicks and making them unpredictable. Like Zachariah, I miss that guy. That guy was awesome. He was one of the best angels in the show. Uriel was awesome too. The good old days of the angels. I really loved all that. Once it got biblical, I was like, damn, this just went places. And I think it goes without saying that the first 5 seasons of the show are definitely the pinnacle of the show. Season 1, obviously, is just a very basic plot line, which is Find Dad. But you had some really unique, interesting Monster of the Week episodes, and then I think it's episode 11, which was Scarecrow, which was the first episode I ever saw. And they introduced Meg. That just opened up another creative realm and more lore into the show that felt so greatly appreciated after the first 10 episodes. Just kind of felt like they weren't going anywhere, but were still really solid, entertaining Monster of the Week episodes. And then Season 2 deals with Sam and his sidekick abilities. Season 3, unfortunately, was hindered by the writer's strike, just as Season 15 was hindered by the ongoing pandemic. Couple of things that were out of their control. So Season 3 feels a bit rushed towards the end because it's at the time, the seasons were 22 episodes and Season 3 was only 16, so it was 6 less episodes. They had to wrap everything up. I remember reading on the internet that Season 4 was going to be like 26 or like 28 episodes, that they were adding on like 4 to 5 extra episodes to make up for those lost episodes. I was like, almost 30 episodes? Oh my God! I think you literally just saw the spit coming out of my mouth to show how excited I was back in the day that Season 4 was almost a 30 episode season. That of course didn't happen. Season 4 though, Seasons 4 and 5 were beyond amazing. Those were the times when this aired back to back with Smallville. Oh, man, is there a time machine? Somebody build a time machine so I can go back in time and watch Smallville and Supernatural back to back, like the good old days. God damn it, I miss those days. So it would be Smallville at 8 o'clock, Supernatural at 9 o'clock, and it was just Smallville was starting to wrap up its run. Supernatural seemed like it was starting to wrap up its run because at the time, Supernatural was only supposed to go 5 seasons, and it lasted another 10 seasons. So it's like these two shows at the time seemed like they were both wrapping up their runs, which Smallville did a year later when Supernatural aired its 6th season. But at the time, it was like this was it. Like, this was what the show was building to. And in the end, thinking about it now, like, I felt like there was nothing better than Smallville and Supernatural on TV. To me, at that time, both of these shows were just high-end quality cable TV network shows. And Supernatural actually still remained that up to its final episode. You can make the argument that Supernatural probably didn't need to come back for a 6th season. The only reason it came back for a 6th season is that Jensen Ackles and Jared Padalecki, the 2 lead actors, were contracted for 6 seasons. The show was only supposed to last 5. Their contracts were 6. Show got picked up for a 6th season, and they had to rewrite like many elements of 5, so in a way that hindered 5 a little bit, but at the same time, I really can't decide between 4 and 5 which season I like better. I think both seasons are fantastic. I probably lean towards 4 now because even the mediocre episodes in Season 4 aren't terrible, whereas some of the mediocre ones in Season 5, I'm just like, disposable. There's a lot to be said about the 2 Sarah Gamble seasons. Season 6 involves Soulless Sam and for half the season, which a lot of fans did not like. I didn't like it at first because it seemed like we weren't getting anywhere with answers, but then once we found out why Sam was acting weird and that he was actually soulless, it made a lot more sense. And now, in hindsight, when I look at Season 10, and it's like, okay, you're doing this whole Demon Dean plotline, but Demon Dean only lasts 3 episodes, whereas you had Soulless Sam for half a season. I think the two should kind of balance each other out. If you're going to do one for half a season, do the other for half a season. They didn't do Demon Dean for half a season because it was more the fans being like, I can't have the two brothers separated. I don't know. That was also a time and place where I would, like, the fans were just getting to me where I was just like, shut the fuck up, you stupid people. It just seemed like at that time it was all just like the crazy fangirls who wanted like the Wincest. By the way, speaking of Season 10, I was so hyped for Season 10 that I actually started to review parts of Season 10. I reviewed some episodes. Check out these old reviews I used to do and see how bad the analysis is.
And they finally fixed Crowley. Crowley is back to being Crowley, thank God, because now he kicked the shit out of Rowena, told her to get the fuck out of hell, and now she is gone. Thank fucking God, because if I had to listen to another minute of her just going, Fergus, it's all about the grand Kevin, Fergus. You're not the king of hell anymore. You never will be. You're not my son, you stupid little bitch. I don't know, something along those lines, but if I ever heard that over again, yeah, I'd be punching babies right now.
One of the reasons why I really like Season 7, I know a lot of people don't, and it's because the brothers are kind of left to their own devices. They don't have their Impala. A lot of what makes the show is gone. There's no Cass fighting the Leviathans. But that's honestly what I love about Season 7, is that it feels a little bit different. They are left to their own devices, and unfortunately, their mentor, Bobby Singer, dies in that season. That made it a little bit more of a gut punch. The villain also had the funniest name for a villain, which is Dick Roman, because you could just throw all the dick jokes in there that you could. But I like that the brothers couldn't use their weapons, or they couldn't use their Impala because they were wanted by the FBI because the Leviathans took their form and looked like them and were committing crimes. I was like, that is a brilliant idea, and I've never really understood why fans never liked that aspect of the show. Sarah Gamble stepped down after that season, and then Jeremy Carver stepped in as showrunner. When it got to Season 8, that should have been, like I said, that's where I became disinterested, and that's where it should have been the omen, because I admire Jeremy Carver for having ideas. I think he's a good ideas man, but when it came to him and his writing team, putting everything down on paper and scripting everything, I don't think it was as strong as they thought it was, because my ultimate problem, especially with Season 8, is that it felt like those 4 seasons that he was the showrunner for, it just felt like they introduced plot lines too late into the season. Like, the trials in Season 8, I think, come in like episode 13 or 14, and I'm like, this is the main plot? And, like, we only have so many episodes to go, and then they fill so much of the season with filler. And let's just talk about Season 10 for a minute. I gotta get this off my chest before we go any further. Season 10 is an atrocity. I hate that season. I despise that season. I've already said that. Here's why. It is all over the goddamn place. There are so many promises made in that season that weren't kept. And I was so intrigued after every episode when they would show the preview for the next episode, potentially Demon Dean coming back, only to be let down in the next episode, that it was just Dean suffering from PTSD. There's only like 1 or 2 episodes in that entire season that I actually like, and one that I really love, which is the Executioner song. The rest of the season is just, oh hey, here's this Demon Dean plotline. Oh hey, here's this plotline with Sam tricking humans into giving away their soul. Oh, here's this random Cole guy. Oh, here's Rowena. Here's this Grand Coven of Witches. Oh, here's this stupid fucking Charlie plot. Ugh. Charlie got really annoying there for the middle. Once Robbie Thompson left the show and they actually had Felicia Day come back, they actually wrote her better after Robbie Thompson left the show. It's like, but like she was chilling in Oz. I'm like, I don't care. Oh, here's the Book of the Damned. Here's this family, the Steins, that are the main villains for the last 6 episodes. I checked out of season 10. I didn't even watch the final 6 to 7 episodes. I haven't seen all of season 10. I haven't had the desire to go back and watch that season. I have it on DVD. I have all the seasons on DVD. I could care less. I feel like once I get done with 9, if I binge watch the show again, I'm just gonna skip 10, just read a plot synopsis on Wikipedia, and be done with it. Because I really don't want to suffer through that PTSD, getting so hyped for that season, and then just have so many ideas thrown into one season, and I felt like it had no focus. When it comes to season 11, the first half was really slow, I thought. I wasn't really buying the whole Darkness Amara thing. I mean, it got a lot better once Lucifer came back, but yeah, the Jeremy Carver seasons I wasn't a fan of. Didn't hate 8, I didn't hate 9. 11 was okay, hated the fuck out of season 10. So those were really the years where I was just like, alright, I'm kind of done. You know, I feel like fans were kind of like that with the Sarah Gamble years, where 6 and 7. 6 just took more of its time answering questions, and 7 I think is really underrated. It's a really fun season, all the dick jokes with Dick Roman. 12 really got it back on track for me when Andrew Dabb took over, because I actually saw things that I wanted. In 11, and at the end of 11, they brought back Mary Winchester. And that's when I kind of questioned the show again, because I was like, wait a minute, what? Doesn't this defeat the whole purpose of the show? Like, they're hunting things. Like, the reason they started hunting again was to find the thing that killed their mom, but now their mom is alive. Trust me, though. Season 12 got me back into it. I liked everything. I did not think I was going to love Mary Winchester coming back. I love that. And I'm actually really happy that she lasted more than just a few episodes and more than a season. She lasted 3 seasons after she came back from the dead. And I actually really appreciated that. It gave the brothers a lot more character development. It was cool watching Mary Winchester interact with her 2 sons as adults, not as kids, as adults. She doesn't know them as adults. That's what made it so intriguing. And then you have stuff like the British Men of Letters. The Men of Letters stuff actually went somewhere. The British Men of Letters, catching Mick. Man, I wish they brought Mick back. I'm glad they brought Ketch back, but man, Mick was awesome. I love Mick. Give yourself a round of applause, man. So from then on, I actually got invested in the show again. I was actually really excited, even though I didn't watch any of the seasons live except for 15. Mostly because they were nights where I was working. I couldn't keep up after a while, but 12 is where the show really got my interest back, and it was because it was stuff that I wanted to see, and the way that they integrated Mary Winchester into the show, I actually really liked. And then season 13 has my favorite episode in the last probably 5-6 seasons. Wearing the shirt, Scooby Natural. This should have happened in like season 8. A Scooby-Doo crossover.
Oh. That's the freaking Scooby Gang.
Great, so we're stuck in a cartoon with a talking dog.
Not just any talking dog. The talking dog. The greatest talking dog in history.
Season 13 I thought was really good, especially with the introduction of Lucifer's son, Jack. Season 14 is definitely like, oh hey, we know you were disappointed with season 10 and how we handled Demon Dean, so here's Dean as Michael, and it's going to be even better than Demon Dean, and it was. It was handled a lot better. Season 15 was a solid final season. Now, here's the thing with 15. The penultimate episode, episode 19, so there were 20 episodes each in 14 and 15. Episode 19 in season 15 was the wrap-up of everything. They defeated God. Jack became the new God. You had that montage at the end from various clips in the show with the 2 brothers. It felt like the series finale. So when the series finale aired earlier tonight, I was like, I really don't know where this is going to go. I kind of expect this to happen with Sam and Dean. I'll get into that in a minute. So I had no idea what to expect from the finale. And the finale is honestly, it was a strange finale. It was a filler episode. It was a vampire episode. It had some good character moments. Throughout the entire run of the show. The moments with the brothers, whether they were arguing, trying to figure out what to do, or it was those heartfelt moments, those were always the strongest moments of the show, and especially when they had to do those with Cass as well, who's the greatest angel on the face of the earth. The series finale was full of those moments. It's just the episodes surrounding those moments was just a bit odd. It's almost like 19 and 20 should have been flip-flopped. And it was just weird the way Dean died, I thought. It was like, okay, you lasted 15 years taking down everything, and you defeated God, but the way you go out is you get thrown up against a wall that has a nail sticking out, and you get stabbed by the nail. Also, old Sam was hokey. That was dumb. The gray wig was hilarious. I was laughing my ass off at that part. So what it is that after Dean dies, Sam stops hunting, starts a family, which I actually really loved. I was like, okay, they were granted the normal life. Sam got that normal life that he's always longed for. Even though he's tried it before and it hasn't worked out. This time it worked out. But then, like, they have him wear his super duper weird ass gray wig. And it's super hokey the way they do it. You can tell Jared Padalecki was probably reading the script and was like, do I really have to, like, stand like this? Because he's standing like an old man in one scene, and he opens the door, like, really slowly to the Impala, gets in, and then Sam eventually dies of old age. I appreciate them for doing something different with the series finale. I don't think it's going to be well received, though. I'm not against the fact that both Sam and Dean die. That's the ending that I saw for both of them. It's just, the way Dean dies, I was just like, on like some random hunt. I would have rather God killed him. And then Sam dying of old age. It was just the old Sam stuff was hokey. The ending, though, where they're both reunited in heaven, brought tears to my eyes, honestly. So I was like, oh, look at them. They're reunited. I actually had to take a few minutes before I did this retrospective / review to actually kind of clear my eyes a little bit, because I was tearing up in some parts. The scene where Dean dies for good, he's died multiple times, but this scene where he dies for good, it was actually really touching. The show is always very good at those touching character moments, those intimate moments. Like when Cass died, he said that he was literally in love with Dean. Like, one of the best moments of the show, honestly. And the scene where Dean dies is one of the best moments of the show. I think people are just going to I don't think people are necessarily going to have a problem with Dean dying or Sam dying. I just think that after 15 years, Sam lighting a funeral pyre for Dean, burning his body, I just think people expect more. Like, they want an actual funeral. And the finale doesn't begin with Carry On Wayward Son. Carry On Wayward Son comes later on in the episode when Dean goes to heaven and he takes a drive in his Impala. I like the dynamic that it goes back and forth between Dean in heaven just driving, and then what Sam's doing on Earth for the rest of his life. But then that's when it transitions to Sam starting a family, and this weird Sam being old thing, and some really depressing version of Carry On Wayward Son, where I was just like, this is hokey. Overall, though, Supernatural is going to leave a long-lasting legacy, if it already hasn't. It already has a humongous fan base. It's going to be very nostalgic. I don't ever think that this is going to be a show that's ever going to be lost on anybody. This is going to live on for generations because of how popular it is. It's on syndication on TNT. People can catch reruns on TNT. I showed this to my mom. I showed this to my brother. They'll probably, my mom's eventually going to go back and rewatch it. I'll show this show to my kids. This is going to last for generations. Supernatural is never going to be gone. It's like that line in Smallville that Jonathan Kent had.
Always hold on to Smallville.
It's exactly like that. It's never going to go away. Whether or not you're disappointed by the series finale, which I think many will be, I wasn't necessarily disappointed. I just thought it was just a strange episode, strange way to end it, even though I saw that ending coming. It was just the episode surrounding it was just kind of I still think that even when in its weaker moments, That's what makes this show good. And looking back on it as a whole, yes, shows like this that last this long are always going to have their ups and downs. And I'm glad I never quit on the show. That's just a testament not only to me, but to the show to bring my interest in the show back. I'm not going to give this a letter grade. I'm not going to give it a popcorn rating. But here's my list of where I would rank the seasons. Obviously, season 10 is at the bottom. But here's a quick list. And I'm very curious to see what your guys' rankings of the seasons are. This is a video that's been in the back of my mind since they announced it's the final season. I knew that this was going to be a video I was going to do. And I'm very curious to see what your guys' thoughts on the show as a whole are, and what you guys thought of the series finale and the final season in general. So if you guys have watched Supernatural, when did you start? Did you watch from the very beginning? Did you pick up somewhere in the middle, somewhere at the end, and then come back and watch it all, and then watch the series finale? Or have you not even seen Supernatural? Drop me some feedback in the comment section below. I'll leave my link to my website in the description below as well. You guys are the best. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more reviews coming very soon. My name is Alex Madden, and I'll see you at the movies somewhere.